morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship, certified by FIA for the second round of this incredible 2023 campaign. And we are at a brand new facility for this circuit, for this season, and for this championship campaign. Kuwait Motor Town in the heart of the Middle East. And what a sensational facility this is turning out to be. It is quickly becoming a driver favourite, and we really are very pleased indeed to be here at this fascinating new facility, designed and architected by the great Herman Tilke, who has done many of the great modern circuits, and it really is a sensational facility. This place exudes opulence and grandeur, and there are some fascinating race circuits around the world that would do well to be imitating what this facility has already put in place. This is the first major single-seater event to take place on the circuit internationally, and boy oh boy, are we glad to be here. It is a fabulous facility, and an incredible race weekend awaits us here in F4 UAE. Jake Sanson here with you in the commentary box for qualifying for this second round of the season, and it's definitely going to be an intriguing and exciting bout out there on the course, as everybody is going to be tested to the limits right from the start on TQ. Now, for those who have never watched a qualifying session in the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship before, it is split into two parts, two sessions. The first session sets the grid for race 1. The second session sets the grid for race 3, just to keep you on your toes. And then race 2's grid will be determined by the fastest lap times set during race 1. So that is how the three grids are set over the course of the weekend. And it's definitely going to be an intriguing battle, with three drivers emerging after the first round of the championship in Dubai as serious title contenders, namely the likes of Arvid Lindblad for the Red Bull Junior Growth Programme and the High-Tech Grand Prix team, Tuka Tarpanen for Mumbai Falcons, who is part of the Ferrari Young Drivers Academy, and of course the man who won 2 out of the 3 races, this man for Prema and the McLaren Junior Programme, Yuga Ugachukwu from New York in the United States. So it is definitely going to be an exciting battle that the drivers will give us out there on the course. The lights have gone out at the end of the pit lane from red to green, and so now we can head out and venture out onto the circuit, ready for an exciting and intriguing battle out there in the course. We have a car that has stopped on the way out of pit lane, though, so that is Lena Bühler for the R2 Race Cavicel team, the Swiss driver. Not entirely sure what's happened there, but now we are underway, and drivers are heading out onto the circuit. Akshay Bora is the first of them, and it looks as though we've got a red flag for qualifying that has come through. That's unfortunate. The clock has stopped at 14 minutes and 5 seconds. So a slight headache already for the drivers out there on the course. But the first session has been red flagged officially. So you can see the red light that has come on at the end of the pit lane. But something has not quite gone according to plan, unfortunately, which means that the drivers that have ventured out onto the circuit will have to come straight back into the pits. That does give us a bit of time to talk about runners and riders and how things fared after Dubai, though. So we'll take the opportunity gladly. It's going to be a very interesting battle for all concerned after what was a very intriguing and very exciting first round of the championship at Dubai Autodrome 2 weeks ago, when we started this fabulous campaign. And now we've got some more great battles to come. The first race of the season 2 weeks ago, I should say, was won by the American Yuga Ugachukwu at a canter from pole position. Did a fantastic job in time qualifying. He finished ahead of Valerio Rinicella and James Wharton, who were there in the top 3, in front of Valentin Klus, the very talented German driver who managed to pop himself up into 4th position. 5th place in that race was Brando Badua, ahead of the other point scorers, Kirill Smal, Théophile Nal, the talented young Frenchman for Santalok Racing, Arvid Lindblad, who dropped to 8th place after a jump start penalty, 9th position and the fastest lap for Tuka Tarpanen, which then put him on pole for race 2, of course, and 10th place for Jesse Carrasquedo. There is the confirmation of the red flag out on the circuit for qualifying. We're not entirely sure what the reason for the red flag is, but we know that the drivers will come back to the pit lane, they'll reset, and then we'll go for 15 minutes of Q1. Race 2 at Dubai 2 weeks ago was Yuga Ugachukwu, who took another victory and a fastest lap on that occasion, managing to beat the pole sitter Tuka Tarpanen to victory, who was 2nd. 3rd place to Arvid Lindblad. 4th was Kirill Smal, who's done a very solid job over the course of these first 3 races of the year, in front of Brando Badua and then Valerio Rinicella. Noah Stromsted and Zachary David managed to bag some points, and then 9th place for Valentin Klus and 10th for the Singaporean Dion Gauda. Now, we're told that the session is actually going to be 14 minutes in length now rather than 15 due to the red flag period. And, of course, we've got a lot of race action to come over the course of the day. So we've lost 1 minute of Q1. Let's go back over to the Dubai Autodrome weekend 2 weeks ago. Race 3 was actually won and the fastest lap set, as well as pole position from Arvid Lindblad, who dominated race 3 despite safety car periods to dodge. The race eventually finishing under safety car ahead of Tuka Tarpanen and Yugo Ugachukwu. So those three are now the three championship leaders. Yugo Ugachukwu on 65 points, Arvid Lindblad on 44, and Tuka Tarpanen on 38. And they're a full 10 points clear of everybody else. Fourth that day in the third race was James Wharton in front of Jessica Rasquedo, the Mexican, and then Brando Badoa in front of Teofil Nal. James Bezique was in 8th place, a good charge through from the Australian, and then in 9th position was Kidel Smal in front of Zachary David from Malta, who, by the way, has been lighting up the timing sheets over the last 48 hours. Zachary David is emerging as one of the contenders for pole position. He was very strong indeed over the couple of practice sessions we had. So definitely one to watch out for. He finally scored points in the latter two races despite finishing 33rd in the first. So he does have the potential and the talent to mix it up there. Qualifying is proving to be quite the game changer in F4 UAE Championship, and we're only at the second weekend of 5 so far in this 2023 campaign, but there are plenty of drivers who are able to get within the top 5 times on the sheet. In fact, I would say there's about 25 drivers that can set a top 5 time in F4 UAE. The problem is if you get one bad qualifying lap, one bulk, one blockage from another driver in front of you, it not just ruins your race, it ruins your weekend, because you're obviously not going to get a better run. You're not necessarily going to get a better run in the second session, and then you end up becoming cannon fodder for all of the duels and wheel-to-wheels. So it's very important indeed to get qualifying right, hence why this weekend we have decided to broadcast the live stream. There is Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who was in F4 last year, not here in the United Arab Emirates for the full campaign. He did a partial campaign in 2022. Now he has stepped up to Formula Regional, having been F4 champion in the ADAC German and Italian championships last year. So he knows all about how these F4 drivers are going. He's actually been very supportive of his team colleagues at Mumbai Falcons in the F4 category, many of whom, of course, he shared a racetrack with in his karting days. So it's been fascinating to see these guys continue their journey up the ladder of motorsport, still in the same paddock as each other, essentially. A lot of them having grown up through the ranks. The fans are starting to filter in as well. This is a brand new experience for them, don't forget, in this fabulous country of Kuwait with a rich and diverse history. It's a very cultural country indeed. There's well over 1.5 million Kuwaitis here. It is a bit of a petrol head's paradise, this place as well. Certainly based on the antics outside my hotel last night. There are a lot of car buffs, a lot of bike buffs here as well. So having their own race circuit facility of FIA Grade 1 is quite a big thing for the nation of Kuwait, and this is really the first time they've had international competition come here of a single-seater nature. There was a sports car race last month, and now for the first time they get single-seaters. You're just looking at Dina Beganovic in conversation there with Kidel Smal and Aidan Neat. Great to see the Formula Regional drivers still curious about what's going on in the world of F4 UAE. So obviously it's very early doors here at Kuwait. The temperature is starting to climb. It's actually hotter today than it has been on the morning session for any of the last 3 days. So this will be a little bit of a sting in the tail for a few of the teams who are starting to get used to the cold conditions here at Kuwait. Very different in air temperature and track temperature to what we saw in the United Arab Emirates 2 weeks ago. So obviously the teams and the drivers and mechanics have been on the back foot in trying to adapt to the changing circumstances and conditions. And that definitely gives us a heck of a lot to talk about, because we're now in the situation of trying to adapt to things on the fly, as it were. And that definitely provides and adds its own problems. Session will start at 10:18 local time. That's in 30 seconds for 14 minutes. So it is going to be a shorter qualifying session than we first envisaged. But at least we're going to get qualifying underway. Thank you for joining us if you're watching on the F4 UAE Championship Facebook page or the YouTube channel. I'm Jake Sanson. I'm here for the entire 2023 season, and we are going to have some thrills and spills out there on the circuit for the 3 races over the course of today and tomorrow. We'll also have action on Tuesday and Wednesday, would you believe, for round 3 of the championship on this very circuit. They are back-to-back. Green lights at the end of the pit lane. Now we can go qualifying here at Kuwait Motor Town. The first time that we'll turn a wheel in competitive anger in qualifying live on air. The last 3 days have been testing behind closed doors as the drivers get to know this circuit for the very first time. The overwhelming sense of expectancy from this circuit and the overwhelming feeling is positive. They love this place, and it really is turning into a driver's favourite circuit. One driver in particular said to me, Sector 3 is the best sector in motor racing anywhere in the world. That is a bold statement, but it certainly shows you that the drivers are really loving this new environment. They come out of the pit lane, as you can see, onto this long straight that runs parallel to the drag strip that runs just off to your left as you look down the back straight. Then they come into turn 2, which is a little bit more open, but it's certainly not as quick as the opening corner. Out onto the circuit go the Prema cars. They've just waited for a few more drivers to venture out onto the circuit. This is all about pacing it. Really exciting situation. But now the contenders are getting themselves ready for qualifying, and this is going to be a really solid and exciting battle. If you've got any comments and questions that you want to give us on the Facebook and the YouTube channels, do please send them in. We'll try and keep on top of those as often as possible through the sessions. But it is great to have your company here for this first qualifying session of the weekend here at Kuwait Motor Town. We're in the presence of history with this circuit opening its doors for the first time to international single-seater competition with the United Arab Emirates-based F4 Championship and 38 drivers out there on the circuit this weekend. It is a very busy field, as you can see for yourself. Qualifying is going to be a real competitive knife edge. The drivers are currently working their way through Sector 3. A few of the drivers suggesting that overtakes could be challenging, but not impossible. So it's definitely going to be intriguing to see who gets the best of it over the course of the qualifying sessions. The sectors, very different from each other. Sector 1 is all about high speed and top-end balance. Sector 2 is about rhythm and consistency. Sector 3 is about being bold in the apexes and trying to work the tyres to their best advantage, not overheating them, but also keeping them firmly balanced. This is the final turn. Not overheating them, one thing, and also keeping them firmly balanced. This is the final turn. One thing that the steely-eyed race fan will have noticed is that this circuit is an unusual one in the sense that it is anti-clockwise, very similar to Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi. As you can see, even on the first flying lap, drivers are trying to get their tyres up to temperature. But as you can see, turn 1 is quite fast and quite open, particularly in these F4 UAE cars. They really do get a semblance of speed through turn 1. The drivers find it really satisfying, and this is going to be a circuit that's going to be talked about a lot over the next 12 months. And it's going to be very similar in its lineage to Yas Marina in the sense that they've built a fantastic circuit and they're just going to keep building the infrastructure around it. Apparently there is an entire entertainment city coming around this place in the course of the next 12 to 24 months. So this place could really turn into a proper mecca of speed, and seeing as how Kuwait as a country is pretty crazy about its cars, I have a feeling that's going to happen sooner rather than later. Purple in the first sector, Tukka Tarpanen. Came straight out of the blocks last time out, I should say, as a rookie, and has done a very solid job since then, and has already gone straight up to the top of the timesheets. Fastest in the second sector, by the way, is not a big shock for this weekend, and that is Zachary David. So Zachary David has already put on a very excellent showcase across the practice sessions yesterday and the day before. So the Maltese star, who managed to score some points in Dubai, is really settling into this F4 car now. And here in Kuwait Motor Town, he's in a sweet spot. That's the thing about this race circuit. Nobody's driven it before this week, and nobody's really been here since before this week. So everybody is coming into this eyes wide open, whereas the Dubai Autodrome and Yas Marina, plenty of drivers have driven around it at various stages of their testing and preparation for this. This is brand new to everybody. So it really does open up the playing field somewhat and give us a little bit more excitement in this 2023 F4 United Arab Emirates Championship, certified by FIA. So up to the final turn comes Arvid Lindblad, who is the first one in the queue. Drivers are trying to make overtaking moves while they're on a qualifying lap. That's not going to help them in terms of getting a fast lap time in, but it could help in terms of track position. The laps start to come in, and the fastest lap so far is actually set by Lena Pula, who has come through a little bit further ahead of everybody else. Rafael Narak is currently second for the moment. Jacob Bergmeister in front of Teofil now. Chiano Al-Azari has gone fastest now for the Yazzie Racing Academy in front of the Rodin Carlin. That's the first time we get to say that in coverage of Dion Gouda. So that deal was literally done in the last couple of days, but the Rodin Carlin squad, as it is now known, has Dion Gouda going straight up to P2 on his first flying lap. These laps are going to change quite dramatically. There is Lena Bühler, the number 15 car, the Swiss driver from R2 Race Cavicel, which is a brand new team for the 2023 season, effectively. It's her and Victoria Blokina, the talented racer, originally born in Russia and is currently based nowadays in Italy. As you can see, drivers are now starting to find the limitations of the tyres. They're starting to lock brakes. They're starting to lock up a little bit now as drivers are starting to give us that little bit of an extra edge. But a really exciting run for all of the contenders as they run through. So they are continuing to battle away in procedure. It is still going to be a very tall order to get pole position here, though, as we watch Lena Bühler in the R2 Race Cavicel, just trying to dial up the speed. Amazing talent in this field so far. Now, the car 15 of Lena Bühler has had lap 3 disallowed, unfortunately, because the car has exceeded track limits at turn 13. And this is definitely a circuit where track limits are going to come into play from time to time, because you're definitely going to get the limits of that ridden several times by the drivers here. Valentin Klus pops up to the top spot. 2-minute flat, 0.088. So there is Valentin Klus just going through into turn 1. Here's Arvid Lindblad around the final bend. Can he go top spot? Chiano Al-Azari just has. Now Lindblad does. 2-minute flat, 0.055. Stromsted is now second in front of Rafael Narak. Then it's Al-Azari from Bergmeister. Up to the top comes Jack Beaton. Pinnacle VAR goes top on the 157. So now they're starting to bang in the 157 times. We expected this was going to happen about this point in the session, and now we're getting a few drivers starting to utilise the slipstream. Tukka Tarpanen goes top. Bianca Bustamante goes second. Hamda Al-Kubaisi goes third. So Tarpanen and the two ladies right up in the top 3 for the moment. Noah Lyle goes second in the XL, 156.1. Federica Rifai, his teammate, goes quicker still, 156.0. Now we're into proper qualifying, as drivers are trying to edge their way around the course. That part of the course, that little chicane sector where you've got those curves, that's where you're going to really run the gauntlet in terms of track limits. And it looks as though somebody's made a mistake on their flying lap and has decided to slot back in a little further round. It's one of the high-techs. Didn't see which one it was, but it looked to me like it might have been Kanato Lee. And up to the top comes Yugo Ugachukwu now. Ugachukwu on a 155.0. 155.064, I should say. Then Renicella, then Karashkedo, then Tarpanen, and then it's Ibrahim, Rifai and Lyle. Quite a few drivers on that last lap around have actually had their times deleted for running over track limits. So immediately drivers are trying to find the sweet spot. Fastest of all in Sector 1 is now the Australian Jack Beaton for the Pinnacle Van Amersfoort Racing Squad. So Jack Beaton definitely putting in some good times over the last 2 days of practice. He was right up at the sharp end. And there is your championship leader, Yugo Ugachukwu, 2 wins out of 3 in Dubai. From New York State, the McLaren F1 Junior, racing for Prema in F4 UAE 2023. A real superstar in the making. Was a very strong contender in British F4, and now he is here in the UAE, putting on a bit of a show. 155.064 is the time to beat. Valerio Renicella has gone purple best in Sector 2, and he is currently sat second in the rankings. So there's definitely a good opportunity here for Renicella. So this is a really exciting run from the drivers. Up to 4th comes Stromsted, 6th is now Hamda Al-Kubaisi, 7th Lindblad, 9th Dion Gouda. These are all the times that are improvements, by the way. Teofil Nal 13th, but up to the top spot. We're waiting to see if Ugachukwu's time is going to be better. It could be impeded by the fact he's had to make an overtake there in the final hairpin. So this lap time might not be quicker. Federica Rifai has gone fastest, the 155.063 by 1,000th of a second. James Wharton just back there in the Mumbai Falcons car has gone fastest, a 154.4, and now Valerio Renicella goes quicker still, a 154.135. So now we're into the 154s if you want a pole position lap. 4 minutes to go roughly. James Wharton is there on track with his teammate Tukka Tarpanen there, exchanging slipstream effect, which we're going to see a few times through qualifying here in the weekend. this downhill corkscrew section is very similar to the shorter configuration of Yas Marina that was used a couple of years ago in F4 UAE. But this is part of the long circuit, and all of this race circuit combined is actually now the longest race circuit in the Middle East. So it is fabulous, a great driver's challenge. The competitors themselves love it. So behind the wheel, you get a real feeling of exhilaration and speed. As there is the 17 going around, sorry, that's the 47 going around, I should say, that's Nicola Lacorte. And now we switch to the MP Motorsport driver. This is Valerio Rinicella, who is now in pole. Provisionally, of course. He is the fastest driver in Sector 2 on this lap as well. James Wharton is the fastest in Sector 1 now. 24.8 for him. Valerio Rinicella on a 43.5. Up to the top 10 has come Teofil Nal. Arvid Lindblad has gone down to 13th. He needs a clean lap. That's the problem he's got at the moment. And unfortunately, track limits are becoming a bit of a hamper for a few of the drivers who are pushing very hard indeed. Another lap disallowed as Noah Lyle comes up to P5 behind Ugachukwu. So it's Rinicella, Wharton, Rifai, Ugachukwu and Lyle. But what about Rinicella on this lap? He has stumbled upon Nicola Lacorte in the wrong part of the race circuit, and I think that's impeded the lap to go quicker. It has indeed. He's had to back down. So Rinicella does not improve on this lap. Nor does James Wharton. He's had traffic too. Federico Rifai, though, is up to third in front of Ugo Ugachukwu and Noah Lyle. Then Nicola Lacorte, Jesse Carrasquedo, Noah Stromsted, Teofil Nal and Kanato Lee. Tarpanen is only 11th and Lindblad is only 15th. That's how critical qualifying is on this circuit already. So this is a very interesting challenge for all of the contenders. Down the drop, through the corkscrew. Really exciting run. What must this be like behind the wheel? Drivers getting all sorts of excitement. Now, car number 12 has exceeded track limits at 20, so that 5 and lap 6 are going to be disallowed for that car. And of course, that is car number 12, so that is Alexander Abkasava, the Latvian. Very tricky stuff so far. Through the mix they go. Valerio Rinicella for MP Motorsport currently leads the standings ahead of James Wharton, Federico Rifai and Ugo Ugachukwu. Looks like a very different top 10 compared to what we saw. Arvid Lindblad comes up into the top 10 now. The Red Bull Junior, number 7 for High Tech, has now got into the top 10. He's just done a lap of a 1:55.2. He can still find more time than that, I think. Fascinating that the drivers are really struggling to get a decent lap time down, because of course it's very dusty, very sandy and very windy here. And all you get is the wrong chop of wind, the wrong gust can blow the car off kilter while it's mid-apex. It's not easy to balance this right. So Valerio Rinicella is currently leading the way from James Wharton. Then Ugo Ugachukwu took a Tarpanen up to P4 now. Kanato Lee is up to P5, the Japanese-based Brit. So Valerio Rinicella goes into another lap, and he's only got one more he can do. Wharton in second, Ugachukwu third, then Tarpanen, Lee, Lyle, Niall, Rifai, Lacorte and Carrasquedo. Lindblad is only 11th at the moment, ahead of Noah Stromsted and Bianca Bustamante, the Filipino driver. She is doing a grand job, 13th place at the moment, ahead of Rafael Narak, Keanu Al-Azari and another fast lady out there. Hamda Al-Kubaisi is doing 16th best times at the moment. So the Yas Heat Racing Academy duo of Al-Azari and Al-Kubaisi going great guns at the moment. Hiro Yamakoshi 17th in front of Mohammed Ibrahim. Good work from the Indian, ahead of Dion Gouda for Rodin Carlin and Valentin Klus. Time is up. So now this lap time that they're on, this is the only one that can finish off. They've got to count this lap. But this is their last chance. They've got to nail this lap. Some amazing performances through the field here. Most notably from the likes of Teofil Nal, right up there in the top 10. Valentin Klus can only get 14th. Lena Bula ends up 18th. Good run from her, actually. The ladies have really nailed the setup here for Kuwait Motor Town. The only one really struggling of the female contingent is actually Emilie de Heus of the MP Motorsport team. Teofil Nal and Arvid Lindblad are in the top 10, but Lindblad is only good enough to be 9th, and he's already being chopped up. Keanu Al-Azari bangs in third in the last qualifying lap. Good run from Keanu Al-Azari. in the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship. The boy from Dubai, Kiano Al-Azhari, bangs in a lap good enough for third right at the end. That is great work from Kiano Al-Azhari. Out of the final turn. Oh, that's running the gauntlet there for James Wharton, and I don't think it's going to be quicker. It's not. Valerio Rinicella in the background is going to try and finish his lap. Can Rinicella get a faster lap? He's running the gauntlet on track limits, but it's okay. But he can't improve. 1:54.1. So, incredibly, it's Valerio Rinicella for MP Motorsport that gets pole position for the first race in F4 UAE here in Kuwait. Valerio Rinicella goes top spot. Yuga Wugachukwu is second. James Wharton is a brilliant third. Kiano Al-Azhari ends up fourth in front of Tukka Tarpanen, Kanato Lee, Noah Lyle, Teofil Nal, Federico Rifai, and in 10th place is Arvid Lindblad. Well, that's thrown the cat amongst the pigeons. Jesse Carrasquedo is 11th in front of Noah Stromsted. Then it's Mohammed Ibrahim, Nicola Lacorte, and Bianca Bustamante. Great work. Valentin Klus ahead of Rafael Narak, then James Pazik, Hamda Al-Kubaisi, and Lena Bula in the top 20. And there is your pole sitter, provisionally, Valerio Rinicella for MP Motorsport. The Italian in the 61 machine has bagged a pole lap of 1:54.135. Grande. Great work from Valerio. Just outside the top 20, we have Will McIntyre for High Tech in front of Hugh Yamakoshi, the new boy from the Philippines for Pinnacle Van Amersfoort. Then Dion Gouda in the Seoul Rodin Carlin. Then Jacob Bergmeister in front of Alexander Bolduev. Jack Beaton in front of Theo Jensen. Alex Abkasava is in front of Sebastian Murray and Flavio Olivieri, the two Cram teammates. Then Emili de Geus, Giorgio Zherevski, and in 33rd position is Matteo Quintarelli for the Yazheed Racing Academy. Wow. Valerio Rinicella putting on a show. He didn't get the chance to win a race last time out in Dubai. He did a grand job, scored good points, but now he's in prime position to take advantage of a strong qualifying. But on the front row of the grid with him is that man, Yugo Ugachukwu, the championship leader. This will be fascinating come race one later this afternoon. Now, of course, we've had our first qualifying session, so we're going to go straight into Q2. So obviously the drivers now get themselves reset with their teams. There is Hugh Yamakoshi, the Japanese driver, running under a Philippine license. As everybody makes their way back to their pit boxes. But certainly for Valerio Rinicella, it's all go and it's all good. Great to have your company on the Facebook and YouTube streams. The next session will be starting at 10:41 local time. That is in just under 5 minutes' time. Jake Sanson here with you for the qualifying sessions of the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship, certified by FIA, Round 2 2023, here at the brand new Kuwait Motortown circuit. It opened in 2019. It's been doing a lot of development work in terms of getting itself up to speed over the last couple of seasons, a lot of local events. This is the first time an international event has come to the circuit. Of course, that would have been a lot faster had it not been for the COVID-19 pandemic. But this is the first opportunity that the Kuwait Motortown facility has had since the world went into lockdown to go racing. It would have been in 2020, of course. But now we are in 2023, and this is the first single-seater international event to come to this circuit. But you're looking at the man who has already got himself one pole position and could well get another one, ready for session 2, which will set the grid for race 3 rather than race 2, because the race 2 grid is determined by who sets the pace in the race this afternoon. So the fastest lap from race 1 will get pole position for race 2. So it could be a very intriguing weekend here, and the fact that nobody's raced here before definitely adds to the challenge and the drama of it. Valerio Rinicella definitely coming out of the blocks with a fast lap time ahead of Ugachukwu, Wharton and Kiano Al-Azhari. Tukka Tarpanen, P5 from Kanato Lee and Noah Lyle, then Teofil Nal, Federico Rifai and Arvid Lindblad in the top 10. Some standout performances behind them, of course. The ladies going very well. Bianca Bustamante, Leyna Bula and Hamda Al-Kubaisi, all in the top 20. So that is really good work from all three of them, and that really does showcase that up against the world's best young talent, there is no issue of gender, only of talent and ability, and those three can definitely cut the mustard. Now, we are told that car 13 exceeded track limits at 20, and so the time is disallowed for lap 7. I'm fairly sure car 13 is James Wharton. So that is very dramatic. That could change the grid quite dramatically. It is indeed James Wharton. So lap 7, which I think was the fastest time, has been disallowed for James Wharton. So that's going to drop him down the order. I did say it was all provisional, so things could change still. You'll have to keep an eye on the F4 UAE Championship website for more updates as it happens, and also the social media channels on Instagram, on Facebook, because everything will be updated as it goes. There is the championship leader, Yuga Chukwu, the sole candidate in the McLaren Junior Driver Program, which once spurned Lewis Hamilton, now has a talented young man from New York. Yuga Chukwu, a former European karting champion at junior level, has come out of the world of FIA karting straight into F4 UAE, certified by FIA. Has already taken 2 wins out of 3 in Dubai. Here in Kuwait, it looks like it's going to be a little bit tougher, but certainly not impossible the way things are currently going this weekend. So the next session will start at 10:41 local time. That is in 1 minute and 18 seconds from now. So the challenge is definitely going to be a very exciting one for all of the drivers concerned. We're in for a real showcase of talent here at Kuwait Motor Town. The facility here is rather extraordinary, and everybody who's come here has been pleasantly surprised at just how good the race circuit facilities are, the equipment and the buildings here that obviously will put on amazing spectacles and host guests and team personnel and everything. They say it's as good, if not even slightly better than Yas Marina, which is quite a big statement. So it's obviously been a very exciting battle for all of the contenders to get up to speed with this circuit. So now the competition is going to be a very intriguing one for all of the drivers as they gear themselves up ready for an exciting battle out there on the course. The Prema cars lining up alongside the high-tech of Arvid Lindblad. They're all there in position. In the next 15 seconds, the green light will go at the end of the pit lane once again, and we'll be ready to battle once more for another pole position, this time for race 3 of the F4 UAE Championship from Kuwait Motor Town. Brand new circuit in 2023. As we said before, should have made its debut in 2020, but obviously COVID-19 saw to that. So it's great that now, post-pandemic, or post-lockdown, I should say, we can continue exploring these new venues in these new countries who want to grace the world stage of motorsport. And here we go. Second qualifying for the F4 UAE Championship. The drivers head out for qualifying 2. Will it be double bubble for Valerio Rinicella and MP Motorsport? Only one way to find out. So the Pinnacles go straight out on circuit. Hio Yamakoshi, Kai Dadignani and Jack Beaton. The Santalocks go with them, Luciano Morano and Theo Jensen, and I'm no doubt that they'll be joined very soon indeed by Théophile Nal, the talented Frenchman. Bianca Bustamante heading out onto the circuit fairly early as well, having just come off the back of a top 20 run. There's always a lot of pressure put on the contenders who have come through the W Series. Can they actually hack it with the elite drivers in the international competitions? Well, Bianca Bustamante is proving she can, right up there in the top 20. Car 26 under investigation for possible unsafe release. That is Jacob Bergmeister of the BHM Racing team. As out goes Yuga Chukwu. We're waiting to see the Mumbai Falcons go out of Ibrahim, Tarpanen and Wharton. So there goes Yuga Chukwu, followed out onto the circuit by the number 20 RHGP car, Zachary David, potential candidate for the pole position here. He was very quick yesterday in practice. So don't count out Zachary David for a surprise pole position, because it won't be that much of a surprise based on his pace yesterday. So now the drivers have that extra minute to prepare. And yeah, car 26 will have to report to the stewards for an unsafe release. That is Jacob Bergmeister of the BHM Racing Team. So the contenders are out on the course, from Noah Lyle of Australia, Noah Lyle of Great Britain, I should say, for the XL Motorsport team, all the way down to the contenders at the tail end of the field, in terms of numbers, I should say this is. We still have this epic contest between the three top drivers in the championship standings after Dubai Autodrome: Arvid Lindblad, Tuka Tarpanen, Hugo Ugachukwu. None of them got pole position for race 1 though. That was taken by Valerio Rinicella. So what will happen this time, I wonder? So the drivers are still getting up to speed. It's usually going to be about lap 2 or lap 3 where we really get fast times coming in. For the record, Jack Beaton was the quickest driver around the circuit in sectors 2 and 3. And it makes very little difference because they haven't actually set a competitive time yet. So Jack Beaton for Pinnacle VAR, Matteo Quintarelli for Yazzie Racing, Kai Daninani for Pinnacle, Federico Rafai for XL, Hiro Yamakoshi for Pinnacle, Alexander Bolduev and George Jaravsky for XL Motorsport, Akshay Bora for BHM, Theo Jensen for Santalog Racing, Jacob Bergmeister for BHM, Bianca Bustamante for Prema, Luciano Morano for Santalog, Chiano Alazzani for Yazzie Racing, Leda Pula for R2 Race Cavicel, Rafael Narak for RHGB, Kanato Lee for High Tech Pulse, Noah Lyle for XL Motorsport, James Bezique for High Tech, Valentin Klus for BHM Racing, Dion Gouda for Rodin Carlin, Chukwu for Prema. So many great talents in this field. Victoria Blokina for R2 Race Carousel. Very hard to pick a winner from this list. We already had 2 at Dubai Autodrome, where Valerio Rinicella was back pole position for race 1, and it could be somebody completely different in pole position for Q3. Keep an eye on Chiano Alazzani and James Wharton in particular. They went very quick in Q1, didn't quite have the session they wanted to get pole position, but definitely up for the challenge and could well take it. Chiano Alazzani was very fast yesterday, finished his day in P2, I do believe, so has every opportunity to go pole position here. Certainly has the tenacity and the mentality to make it happen. So through they come to finish off their first complete lap of the circuit, although that is very much the dial-in lap. Jack Beaton, though, has gone for broke, a 1:56.6 right out of the blocks, as everybody else is still doing tyre warming. Car 95 exceeded track limits at 19, so his lap is disallowed. That was short-lived for Jack Beaton. Now at least we know how motivated he is to get out there and set the pace. So I'm afraid Jack Beaton will no longer be on the top spot, as his lap time is about to be deleted. So the contenders are still giving us plenty of excitement as they battle away. We're very excited about how things are currently progressing here at Kuwait Motor Town, as we have the qualifying session for F4 UAE Championship out on the circuit at the moment. Hello to all those of you who are watching, whether it's via the F4 UAE Championship Facebook and YouTube channels, or whether it's via Kuwait Motor Town themselves. So it is a really exciting run for all the contenders. Hugo Ugachukwu is currently out there on circuit, and he is trying to get the pole position time. Jack Beaton has just done a 1:56.6, but we think that time is going to be deleted based on what we've seen so far. 9 minutes left in the session. For the time being, Beaton is top, Rafael Narak is in second, Federico Rafai in third, from Theo Jensen, Hugh Yamakoshi, Luciano Morano, Alex Bolduev, Matteo Quintarelli, Sebastian Murray and Valentin Klus. But we're still waiting for the big guns to make their way out onto the circuit and really push for it. It's not going to be long before some big names start to pop up with some big times. Anything in the 1:54s is going to be pole position near. See the times that are currently provisional. You can see that it's currently Narak who's right up at the sharp end of the field now, because Jack Beaton's time has rather sadly been disallowed. So the times are going to start to change quite frenetically over the course of the session. It's Yamakoshi trying to threaten for the top spot. I think Yamakoshi has just come through on a 156.3. There it is. Rifai was in second, but now Beaton has come up to beat it. Quintarelli is doing a good run as well. Actually, Bora now pops up to the top spot. So a very solid effort from several of our contenders. Still a very early doors day here in Kuwait Motor Town. The first time that international single-seaters has ever come here before. We are very much enjoying it. Rafael Narak is on the top spot from Akshay Bora. Alexander Bolduev, Hio Yamakoshi. Looks like Dion Gowda is on a pretty fast lap as he tries to put himself up into the top 10. Quintarelli and Rifai, the two teammates for Yazid Academy, are there, and there's Dion Gowda's time. 5th position for him now for the Ronin Carling team. As we watch PHM driver working his way through the field, that is the 91, I do believe, of Sebastian. Oh no, sorry, that is not Sebastian Murray because he doesn't drive for that team. It is the 31. I do apologise, and that is some fast times coming in from Akshay Bora. Akshay Bora, younger brother of Formula Regional driver Nikhil Bora, who won last time out in Dubai, don't forget. So Akshay Bora definitely stepping up his attack, and he has come up with a very quick lap to start off his qualifying session. That'll give him bags of confidence. Rafael Narak is on the top spot, a 155.385 for him so far from Bora, Bolduev. And here Yamakoshi. Yamakoshi is on a fast time though. He's gone 43.8 in the second sector. And he's gone top, 154.7. A brilliant third sector for Yamakoshi, a 45.021. So a really exciting challenge so far for all of the contenders. And a great battle so far developing. So a really solid start to proceedings thus far. Everybody getting into the swing of things as it currently progresses here in the F4 UAE Championship. Hello to all those of you who are watching on the Kuwait Motor Town YouTube channel. Still a very early YouTube channel for the likes of motor racing, as they are starting to get used to the idea that motor racing at this level is going to be doing a grand job. Anybody who is here in Kuwait Motor Town as well, whatever you're doing today and tomorrow, cancel your plans, get to the Motor Town. You're going to be in for some great racing later on in the day. So the big names are starting to creep in. You can see that Kanato Lees comes second, Noah Lyle in third. Gianni Lazzardi and Bianca Bustamante are now up in the top 5, looking for a good lap with 5 minutes still to go here. And there's Yuga Chukwu and Zach David. They've gone first and second. A 153.6 for Yuga Chukwu. That is a big lap. And it's a second quicker than anybody else. Wow, that is quite extraordinary. Valentin Klus has had his lap for lap 4 disallowed, unfortunately. So Valentin Klus drops back outside the top 20. And there are the times. Look at that. Yuga Chukwu on a 153.6 compared to David on a 154.6. That is a second in difference. That is massive. And there's James Walton. He's now popped through on a 153.5. Renicello on a 153.9. So the times are tumbling. Tarpanen is now on a 154.0. Kadashkado on a 154.695. David on a 154.696. A thousandth of a second between them. And once again, Lindblad just dropping towards the bottom end of the top 10. Still some big lap times to come. Al-Azadi's on a decent lap. 44.4 for the second split. So what can Al-Azadi do as he comes across the line this time? He goes up into the top 5, I think. Just waiting for the timing screen to update on your screen. It's updated on mine. So Walton, Chukwu, Brinicella, Tarpanen, and it should be Al-Azadi, who has come up to 5th now in front of Kadashkado. So a good run from the Yazid racing driver. There's the confirmation, a 154.645. Car 73 exceeded track limits at 13. That is lap 5 disallowed. So that is a problem, I'm afraid, for Flavio Olivieri of the Crown Motorsport team. But it's James Walton for Mumbai Falcons on the top spot at the moment. Nobody is setting purple sectors. A lot of people setting green sectors, though. Personal bests. Now we're going to see some seriously fast laps. Red flag is being called, red flag. So we've got a red flag on the circuit. Something has happened somewhere out on track then. Red flags are being called around the circuit, I'm afraid. Can't quite see what the situation is though. It's certainly not in the third sector, but there is a red flag. We think it might be something that's happened in sectors 1 or 2, but certainly we've had an incident somewhere on the course that has caused a red flag. So there it is, red flag. The clock is stopped with 3 minutes and 9 seconds officially to go. That is enough to get one more lap in. But will we get that one more lap in, or will they stop the session and decide not to restart it? So we obviously have a busy schedule to do today. What is the cause of the red flag? Well, your guess is as good as mine. I haven't seen it yet, but certainly we are in red flag conditions here, and everybody has come back into the pits. I'm trying to see if there is a stationary car out in sector 2. Can't quite make it out from my vantage point here in the commentary box, overlooking the start-finish straight. You really can see the majority of the circuit layout from this position, but there are a couple of blind spots thanks to the brilliant elevation changes that you get from sector 1 into sector 2, and as a result of that, I can't quite make out the whole circuit. It looks like there is a car stationary, potentially at turn 2. I'm not entirely sure if that's correct or not, but certainly at turn 2 it looks as though there might be a car out of position. So that might be the reason why we've got the red flags. The question is, will the session restart? Because we've got 3 minutes and 9 seconds left on the clock, which is enough time, of course, to get another flying lap in. But, well, we have enough time to make that one happen. Still can't see anything on our screens yet, so we can't make any speculations as to why there's a red flag. We can only guess at this moment in time. And we don't really want to make any undue speculations. All we know is that there is a red flag. The session has been brought to a stop with 3 minutes and 9 seconds remaining. And it's currently James Wharton that leads the session in front of Ugo Ugachukwu, Valerio Renicella and Tuukka Tarpanen, with Noah Lyle in 5th place in front of Chiaro Alazzari, Jesse Cadascedo, Zachary David and Teofil Nal ahead of Dion Gala and Federico Rifai. Now everybody in the top 33 of the standings has come back into the pits. So again, I can't really tell you what it is that's brought out the red flag, because we can't make out any particular driver on the circuit that is stationary. So as much as we'd like to give you news on what's going on, we don't have any. So we'll just continue to look through the time screens. Wharton, Ugachukwu, Renicella, Tarpanen, Lyle, Alazzari is the top 6. Then Cadascedo, David, Nile and Gauda. 11th is Federico Rifai. Good run from him in the XL Motorsport car. 12th is Hiro Yamakoshi. Not bad for a new boy. 13th for Kanato Lee. 14th for Arvid Lindblad. That'll leave him scratching his head in disbelief, I think. 14th position. 15th for Akshay Bora. A good run from him. Valentin Klusin 16th, his teammate. Hamda Al-Kubaisi is the leading lady this time, 17th in front of Mohammed Ibrahim. And then Nicola Lacorte and Bianca Bustamante, the Prema teammates, are looking to be on the 10th row of the grid. Still a very good run. Will McIntyre, the British driver for High-Tech, is in 21st on the starting grid, alongside Lena Buehler, the Swiss driver for R2 Race Carousel. Then Rafael Narak, who is there for RHGP alongside Sebastian Murray. Alex Abkasava, the Latvian for RHGP, is there in 25th, ahead of James Bezique. Not as good a Q3, or Q2, sorry, I should say. Not as good a Q2 as it was in Q1. Alex Bolduev and Flavio Olivieri, then Matteo Quintarelli, Noah Stronstedt in 30th, ahead of George Sharafsky, Jacob Bergmeister and Theo Jensen. Still waiting for an update as to whether we are going out to complete the session's remaining 3 minutes or not. Trying to make out if there is an issue on the circuit that we can spot. Nothing has come up yet. Although I can tell you that a car has now been... there was what looked like a stationary car up at turn 2, and that has now moved. So I would guess then that that has obviously already been cleared. I'm afraid I couldn't tell you who it was at this particular juncture. Session will resume at 10:58. That is in 5 seconds' time. So clearly it was an isolated problem. The car has already been cleared, so we can finish the session. Here we go. And everybody is desperate to get out. And by virtue of the fact that they're at the far end of the pit lane, the Mumbai Falcons will head out first. James Wharton, Tuka Tarpanen and Mohammed Ibrahim, all three of them within the top 20 at the moment. So the qualifying session resumes. So the contenders gear themselves back up onto the circuit once again. So out onto the circuit the drivers come. Is anybody going to beat their time? That's the real question of the matter, because they can't change their tyres. They've already had laps getting up to speed. I would suspect that there's going to be quite a few drivers out there who are not going to get anything more from this session, despite the fact they've got time to set another lap. There's the provisional standings in the top 10. James Wharton looking at pole position this time from Yugo Ugachukwu again. And this is what is going to give Yugo Ugachukwu the chance to win the title for me. It's not just about what you do when you're winning, it's about what you're doing when you're not winning, when you're not in pole position. And Ugachukwu has still gone second quickest. That'll do nicely. He has a decent, substantial lead in the championship coming to this round, because after his phenomenal performance where he got a pole position and 2 race wins as well as the fastest lap, Yugo Ugachukwu actually has 65 points, 21 more than Arvid Lindblad, who is currently sat in 14th place on the grid for race 3. Tuka Tarpanen has 38 points as a rookie driver in F4. Tarpanen finds himself in 4th on the grid, so he looks like he could be the next challenger to Yugo Ugachukwu in terms of title contention this weekend. Certainly in race 3 it looks that way. But Tuka Tarpanen is also leading the rookie contingent ahead of Keanu Al-Azadi and Zachary David. I did say that David was one to watch for this weekend. He's right up there in the top 10. A minute to go, so all they can do is race back to the line and start their final qualifying lap. That's all they're going to get a chance to do. Here they go then. And James Wharton, who is currently in provisional pole, has got an opportunity to go even faster still. What can he do with a 1:53.5 already in the tank? Can he go even quicker? Pulls the car to the middle of the circuit, trying to get a little bit of heat into the tyres, no doubt. Into turn 2. It's quite a tight one. Delicately balance the throttle on the exit, climbing up the crest, through the hairpin on the far side, and then dropping down through the S's. Fabulous part of the course, this. Really do have to work quite hard. It's a very physical part of the race circuit. And then the cars drop down through it. Through on the far side, guiding the car through the left and then through the right-hander once more. Into sector 2. A pair of S's, sweep through, right, left, then sweep through the next pair, right, left. Very fast circuit this. Keep a lot of speed in these F4 cars, then sail through the right-hander. Get the car in the middle of the circuit because it tightens again on the way through the next part of the apex. Tucks in for another right, tucks in for another right, it just keeps on turning, and then you get this long, flowing left-hand hairpin. Tightens in, delicately balanced throttle. You can run a little bit side by side with a driver or two if you get it right through there. Then back in on the far side once again, and on the penultimate straight up towards the final turn. It's a clean run for Wharton. He's fast in sector 1, he's fast in sector 2, but he's not faster than he's been, crucially. In fact, there's only a handful of drivers that are getting a faster sector out of this lap. We did think it was going to be tricky. Out of the final turn, I think James Wharton's already bailed. Several drivers have bailed. They know they're not going any quicker. What about Tarpanen? Is he going any quicker? Tarpanen finishes in P4. Wharton finishes in pit road, I do believe. Rinicella has come back into the pits as well. So has Ugachukwu. He knew he wasn't going any faster. Checkered flag waves for the end of qualifying. Any changes to position? Well, Kalashkado's come up to 6th place, I do believe. So Kalashkado's gone quicker still. Car 15 exceeded track limits at 19. So lap 7 is disallowed then for the number 15 car. That is Lena Bula. Looks like Al-Azadi has had to bail on this qualifying lap as well. So he pits in. So does Hamda Al-Kubaisi. Now Alal comes through. No major changes other than Kadashkedo moving up into P6 really. Zachary David, however, has come up to P5 actually. So another great run from Zach David. The R-Race GP team with himself P5 and 6. A very solid run there at the end. So there's your top 10. Oh, also good work from Dion Gouda to get up into the top 10 with the very last flying lap. And that is the end of Q2. The grid for race 3 is provisionally looking like this. James Wharton and Yuga Wugachukwu on the front row of the grid. From Valerio Rinicella and Tukka Tarpanen, then Zachary David and Jesse Kadashkedo, Noah Lyle, Keanu Al-Azadi, Federico Rifai and Dion Gouda. There are some big name absences there though. 11th is Teofil Nile, 12th is Hio Yamakoshi, 13th Kanato Lee, 14th is Noah Stromsted, 15th is Arvid Lindblad. Not enjoying Kuwait Motor Town so far. Akshibora, P16, very solid and smooth. Valentin Klus in front of Will McIntyre, definitely better this time than in Q1. Hamda Al-Kubaisi and Mohammed Ibrahim, then Nicola Lacorte, Alexander Kazava, Bianca Bustamante and Lena Bula, then Rafael Narak and James Bezique, Sebastian Murray and Alexander Bolduev, Flavio Olivieri and Matteo Quintarelli in front of Georgi Żurawski, Jacob Bergmeister and Theo Jensen. So a very solid run so far then from F4 UAE. Two different pole position sitters from Q1 and Q2. Valerio Rinicella in the first session, James Wharton in the second. But in both sessions, the man who finished second in qualifying is the championship leader, Yuga Wugachukwu. It's consistency and discipline that wins championships. It's not just about what you're doing when you're winning, it's about what you're doing when you're not. Wugachukwu, second fastest in both sessions, bodes very well for a big haul of points this weekend. That's a really, really good run. So as the contenders are gearing themselves up ready for 3 excellent races this weekend, it's going to be a fabulous battle for all of the contenders throughout. If you are still wanting some great motor racing action in time qualifying from Kuwait Motor Town, stick around because the Formula Regional Middle East Championship cars will be heading out onto the circuit at 11 local time. That is less than 5 minutes from now. I'm Jake Sanson. That's F4 UAE Championship qualifying done for round 2 at Kuwait Motor Town. Valerio Rinicella and James Wharton are the kings of speed, but Yuga Wugachukwu is never far away.